Hello everybody, Max Gaming here, and today guys we're going to be talking about the very surprising ending to Outlast 2 that we all experienced, and you'll remember finishing with me quite a while ago. I think it was maybe a week ago now? Yeah, I think it was a week ago anyway. But yeah, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but the ending left me seriously confused, and I was talking to a lot of friends and doing a lot of research into it, just did lots of digging, and I've got more of a better idea about the ending now. So this video is just going to be, not going to be too long, just sort of summarize the ending, about everything that happened at the end after, and spoilers if you haven't watched the Outlast 2 ending yet, there'll be a link to the video in the description, so if you don't want any spoilers, stop watching this now, watch my final video of it in the description, and then come back to this video. But anyway, so you've been warned. So yeah, so after Lynn's death, we saw one more hallucination with Jessica, and then Noth said his final words, his last speech, and I didn't really fully get what he meant at first. It was pretty confusing what he was talking about, but I actually sort of get it now, what Noth was saying before he committed suicide. But just for a recap, I'm gonna let's take a trip down memory lane, guys. And let's hear what Noth had to say before he committed suicide. So, Noth, take it away.
That's the child, isn't it? My God. We're taking care of my children. But yours, I am powerless again. The child's too strong already. You've murdered paradise. God has gone silent. Since the storm, the birth. Who will he have if he destroys us all? Who will he have left to punish? I killed my children. All of them. Every last one. There's no more perfect faith than that. And still, God is silent. Kill that child if you can. If you love anything at all, crush its skull under your heel. I know God doesn't hear dead men, but I expect he answers them.
But yeah, guys, so that was that, and that was pretty confusing. I mean, but that's what Noth had to say. And I don't know about you guys, but I didn't have a clue what he was on about. But I've got something here on the Xbox, on the internet thingy, Microsoft Edge, and have a listen to this, guys. At the very end of the game, Noth is encountered one final time by Blake after Lynn dies from childbirth in the church. Noth tells Blake that he slaughtered the entire town and that he failed, that it was too late, and that the Antichrist has already been born, and that the apocalypse is imminent. Noth is shown to be resentful, saying that God has gone silent after the storm and doesn't talk to him anymore. Alright, so stay with me. Heavily implying the God, now this is the crazy bit, guys, listen to this. Saying that God has gone silent after the storm and doesn't talk to him anymore, heavily implying that God was radio signals emitted by the towers owned by the Murkoff Corporation. Ringing any bells yet? My first ever playthrough, Outlast 1. In a mental asylum owned by the Murkoff Corporation. Poor Billy, subjected to those experiments, turning him into the Wall Rider. By the Murkoff Corporation. It was them the whole time. That guy, that crazy guy, Jeremy Blair, in the Whistleblower DLC, all of it, the Murkoff Corporation was behind the lot, right? And then we thought that we shut them down with Wayland. He's like, if you do that, Mr. Park, you do it, then your family, everyone you love is screwed or whatever. But it's the right thing to do. Is hurting Murkoff worth that much to you? And that's what we did. We shut down Murkoff, but apparently we didn't. Murkoff is still around. So I'll continue reading on. So those radio towers, so that big white light that appeared every now and then, that wasn't God at all. Those were radio towers emitting some kind of pulse or whatever, and they were used by the Murkoff Corporation. And Noth thought they were some kind of sign from God, but then he realised that they weren't, and it confused him. That's why he was like, God has gone silent. That's because there was no God talking to him. It was the Murkoff Corporation just using these pulses, and he was confused about it. So he is confused after killing his and his followers' children, thus declaring that there can be no more perfect faith. Whoop. I'm losing the grip of my phone, I'm shaking it a bit. Whoop. There you go. Thus declaring that there can be no more perfect faith than that. Oh, I keep wobbling, there we go. Sorry. Thus declaring there can be no more perfect faith than that, but remains confused by God's silence. He had thought that God would not abandon him or become silent on him. Or become silent on him after such sacrifices made in his name. Bound by his own religion, he won't let himself kill Blake's newborn, and instead begs Blake to kill his own child. He seriously states, I know God doesn't hear dead men, but I expect he answers them. Sorry guys, best impression. Before slitting his own throat. So that was a little bit of a in-depth discussion thing on what Noth was on about. The whole time, it was just the Murkoff Corporation pulling his strings pretty much, without him even knowing it. He thought he was doing God's work. Killing all his followers, killing his followers' children, killing all of them, sending Martyr to kill them all. None of it was God's doing. It was the bloody Murkoff Corporation. The same guys who were behind the whole asylum, the whole Mount Massive Asylum in the first Outlast game. Mind blown when I saw that. Took me a while to find this concrete info. Other things I went to just talked about what we've seen, but not what exactly happened. But pretty crazy stuff, right, guys? I mean, that's pretty much what happened. I mean, I can't really explain what else. I mean, oh yeah, and a little bit else. So that's that's explaining Noth's side of the story. But also, I'd like to recap quickly on Jessica quickly. Turns out that firstly, if you guys may have noticed throughout the playthrough and all the flashbacks and all that crap, Blake was constantly saying, it's not my fault. But we were wondering, so it's like, what's not your fault, Blake? And then we figured out he was blaming himself for Jessica's death. Because remember, I think his name was Father Laudamich or something. The priest, anyway. I'll just call him the priest. The priest was like, oh, you can go, young man. Now you can leave. You're fine. You're not in trouble. I just need to see Jessica. And he went, oh, okay. And he left. Then he started to leave the school. Next thing you know, Jessica's been murdered. And he can't help but feel it's his fault because he abandoned her. He left her. And then at the end, I feel like the ending with that part of Jessica saying those final words and that prayer is in a way she's like forgiving Blake and saying it's fine, you'll always be with me, something like that. But that's just my way of putting it. I'd like to see it that way. I mean, I'd like to think that Blake redeemed himself. I mean, I'm still depressed over the fact that Lynn died. He went through hell to find his wife and she just dies. But still, I mean, so the whole time Noth thought he was doing God's work. And in the end, it was just all the Murkoff Corporation. There was no God involved, none of it. It was all a lie. It was all an illusion. Kind of. But anyway, so hopefully that answered a few questions. If I didn't answer enough questions, then maybe find some other more popular YouTubers' explanation of the ending. That's the best I got for you guys. But I understand a bit more. Hopefully you guys understand a bit more. But I also figured out that at the end, when Jessica had those rope lines on her neck and a bruised face, right? I found out that there's one other Outlast 2 ending you can get, and I think it's by finding all documents and capturing all recordings in the entire game. Then at the end, Jessica looks completely fine. But that's all that I've heard. The ending is still the same. She still says the same, but she looks fine. So I might try and do that at some point. I might try and find all the recordings or captures or whatever, but I'll do that in my own time. But anyway, guys, if you if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and drop a comment, subscribe if you haven't already. And check the annotations below for other videos I've done, including the final Outlast 2 video. So be sure to check that out. But otherwise, guys, hopefully you understand a bit more. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video of Subnautica, where I'm going to try and scan the sea dragon. And I'm not going to lie, guys, I am terrified. I'm probably going to get swallowed whole by that thing. Because that's what I've apparently had to happen. So, thanks so much for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya!
Thanks so much for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya!